Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment. I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're coming to you today in regards to everything
entertainment. Yeah,
there
buddy.
We go. Harmony and all. Okay.
Yeah, look at us.
Look at us. So this week I think I am getting started first, and I am going to talk about the 96th, Academy Awards. The Oscars. Mm-hmm. Very prestigious award. And I didn't watch it live, I'll be honest, because I like to fast forward through all the minutia.
Absolutely.
Not watch the commercials
what do you mean?
And all of that.
What do you mean fast forward through what exactly?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Funny enough, I ended up watching most of it. It wasn't much for me to fast forward through.
Yeah, because
so
while they're standing up there talking and stuff like that, that's the little entertainment, stupid things.
Well, it depends. Like, if it was about costume design or something like that, I might have fast forwarded, because everybody gets their due. Don't get me wrong. But I didn't even watch.
That's not your
right,
thing.
And I'm not even a fashion person. So, and I didn't watch any of the movies that were probably up for the award because I'm not as big into movie theater movies. Like even for this podcast, most of the things I talk about are TV shows. Even so, I guess I need to. I'm going to do a whole movie. Like all of the ones that I talk about in one episode are going to be all movies. Okay. Keep that in mind. All right.
All movies.
All movies. So it was hosted by Jimmy Kimmel. He did a decent job. Of course, made everybody feel uncomfortable because that's what you do whenever you host any award. But I guess he wasn't as bad as, what's your boy's name? The one who dated Chelsea lately, who did
Joe Coy.
Coy, who everybody hated, like, for some reason. I don't know why. So, but yeah. So
I don't get it either because if you ever look at his comedy, you know what kind of comedian he is.
Yeah.
So therefore, you're not gonna ask Kevin Hart to come and do stand up like Ricky Gervais. Yeah. It's not gonna happen because Kevin Hart's very animated. He's gonna do some crazy stuff. So it's like, if they're gonna be raunchy.
Well, but it wasn't even about that. It was more about like he blamed the writers for why the jokes weren't landing. And they were like, we just had a strike to support the writers, and now you're up here at the first awards. But after
I think that's hilarious.
It's not.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny because it's sarcasm. I know, but it's because it's sarcasm. It's like, oh man, because of these writers again. Here we go with the writers again. And then I just think it's funny. It's like,
Anywho.
It's just me.
It is just you. No. But anyway, so the first...
It is just you. God, I heard a whole curse word at the end of that.
No, you didn't. But no, so the awards actually took place last Sunday. And it ended up being that, like, the first award, which I thought was amazing. I don't remember this ever happening or having happened any time of late. But what happened was they had, for Best Supporting Actress, that was the first award, right? So they had all of these people who had won Best Supporting Actress come out onto the stage to say something beautiful about the person who was up for the award. Have you heard of that before?
No, never in my life.
It was so beautiful. So they had Mary Steenburgen. I was making sure I was saying that right. Then they had, it was Jamie Lee Curtis, Lupita Nyong'o, Rita Moreno, I can't even talk, and Regina King. So all of them came out. And they said, okay, for this person, this is who it is. Like Jamie Lee Curtis, it was for Jodie Foster. Like, we've been friends forever. She's one of my besties. I just love you so much. You're like a sister to me, and you so deserve this award. And it was like, woo, yeah. So then,
So you mean but these are the awards for
it was Best Supporting Actress. So all the women who were up for that category,
they each
had a person to say something nice about them. So for Rita Moreno, she said it for America Ferrera.
Okay,
and she was just like a spicy Latina to a spicy Latina, you know what I mean? So she was like, and the words you said during the Barbie movie, they were so inspiring and blah, blah, blah. So, and you're sitting there and these people could be your idols. They could be,
Yeah, and they're talking about you.
Yeah, exactly. So awesome. One of the ladies, she just choked up because Lupita Nyong'o was saying such beautiful things about her, And so it's just one of those things that I thought was really neat. And then when it came time for Best Supporting Male Actor, they did the same thing. So you had different actors to go up there and say things about like Sterling, K. Brown.
Yeah. I wonder if how long was this?
The show?
Yeah.
It was normal 3 hours. But actually, it was going to end earlier. So Jimmy Kimmel was like, actually, I have to stand out here and talk a little bit. And,
yeah, that's what I was saying, because I feel like
time.
something must have been cut for them to do that, because that's adding a lot of time onto.
I don't know if it
usually
was.
I feel like they're rushing through the show.
It could have been that some of the categories, because they do them over days in smaller venues, so it could be that some of the categories moved to a smaller venue. Maybe.
See, I didn't know that.
And you could get so if it's like I don't know, best editing or something like that. And that could have been a category. I don't even remember. But it could be something like that. That could be like, oh, well, then that is at the such and such awards that took place like the night before.
I feel like if I was a celebrity, I wouldn't want to go and be in a room with all celebrities.
Really?
No, because I feel like, bro, like, we are the ones who, like, people look up to. There's some crazy people out here.
And what does that mean?
There's some crazy people out here.
Would do something crazy
Yeah.
Oh, well, the security.
We live in America.
This crazy. I mean, the security for that stuff is like you might as well assume that the president is coming. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
Because you got to have your own security plus their security, because you're not going to trust their security.
Oh, my goodness. Anywho, so somebody's paranoid, everybody.
I'm not paranoid.
So for actor in a leading role, the winner was Cillian Murphy, who is an Oppenheimer, so the main guy that you always see in all the commercials for Oppenheimer. Yep, Cillian.
Never knew that.
Yeah, they made a joke about it. They said if he's in a comedy, he's Cillian or something like that. It's just, corny. But he was up against Bradley Cooper, Coleman Domingo, Paul Giamatti, and Jeffrey Wright. So, so he's the one who won that. So pretty strong, group. You had actor in a supporting role, and it went to, for the first time ever in his career, Robert Downey Jr.
What? RDJ?
RDJ got it for the first time in his career.
First time?
That's what I was thinking.
He's been around since I was a baby.
Right. And Jimmy Kimmel joked on that, hey, he's been around, but he's been a drunk, and he's been a drug addict, and he's had some issues, but he's crawled himself back up to the top. And so he was like, he asked him something, but he made like a cocaine joke or something, and then Robert Downey Jr. was sitting in the line, and he's like, yeah, then he just like tapped his nose, like, okay, it's like, no, and he tapped his nose about the joke. He said, is that like on the nose reference, or is it about cocaine? And so he was just like, who knows, Yeah. But he got up there and gave a really good speech and spoke about his wife and her being with him through some interesting times and stuff like that. But so because he's such a different person than who he was, like even with like, I think Chaplin was the first thing that he kind of started getting back into the groove of things with.
But I mean, I remember, I didn't know him as an actor. I only know him from Entertainment Tonight, always being in the courtroom.
Okay.
When I was still younger.
Right. Okay, so but he was up against Sterling K. Brown, Robert De Niro, Ryan Gosling, and Mark Ruffalo.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Then you had actress in a leading role. Emma Stone won, and she was up against Annette Bening, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, and Carey Mulligan. So some of these movies I hadn't heard of, like Nyad.
Nyad was the one I was telling you about, the lady who was swimming to Jodie Foster is in that with her.
Okay, I didn't.
She was swimming from Miami to Cuba. That was the movie I was telling you about. I haven't talked about it yet.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
Me and you were talking about.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't remember putting that in the notes of the podcast, but okay. And then you had Maestro. I'd heard of it, but I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
Anatomy of the Fall, heard of it, never heard anything about it. Killers of the Flower Moon, I've only heard wonderful things about, but it's 3 hours, so I gotta just get my life together.
That's what I'm saying. I can't do these 3 hour movies.
Yeah, and that's what they were making a joke about that too. They were like, every single big movie basically was 3 hours long.
And then also all the movies that they say have won all these awards are always the weirdest movies that you're like, what is the storyline?
Because it's supposed to be probably the creativity of the whatever. So.
Yeah, like the one with Mark Ruffalo and Emma Stone in it. I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try to watch it though because it won everything. Poor Things is the name of that movie. Actress in a supporting role. It was Divine Joy Randolph won. So she was crying when Lupita was talking about her. She was up against Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks, American Ferrera, and Jodie Foster. So then you had...
that's tough. That's a hard category right there.
Exactly, because everybody did a phenomenal job in their work. And then you would also have it where now at least you can say Academy Award nominated. So that at least goes with your name. So it kind of gives you some clout. And so then you had cinematography. The winner was Oppenheimer. Costume design, Poor Things. Directing, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer. Documentary, I hope I say this right, 20 Days in Mariupol. Mariupol.
Don't start me to learn.
Documentary short, The Last Repair Shop. Film editing, Oppenheimer. International feature, The Zone of Interest, which is an interesting story. I don't know if you've heard of that, The Zone of Interest. It is about the people who lived right outside of the concentration camps. So, like, you're literally...
Zone of interest.
Yeah, so it's literally the barriers, the wall, like, because they showed a couple of clips. It's the barriers, the wall, like, everything. You see the smokestacks going. You know what they're doing in there. But yet, you're just living your life right outside the wall. Yeah. So, the zone of interest.
Just minding your own business.
Minding your business, I guess. Okay. But yeah, so and the lady who was in that movie also was up for an award for a different movie because she was in 2 different movies at the same time. Like both of them got released and both of them were up for awards or something that. So she kind of like has a lot of things going on for her. So so I don't know, but for makeup and hairstyling, I thought this when I saw the preview for it, Poor Things, because of Willem Dafoe and how even Emma Stone looked, all of that. For music, it was Oppenheimer. For the music song, I was so glad this won. So here's the songs. You tell me which you think wins. Or I don't know if you already know. No, but it was, and it doesn't even tell what movie. Oh, maybe it does. I don't know. So I'm Just Ken, Ryan Gosling singing I'm Just Ken. Now, mind you, he did the performance for the Oscars of I'm Just Ken, of him singing. And if you don't watch anything else from the Oscars.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I watched the Barbie movie.
Just Ken.
No.
But I'm telling you, it was the most, like, literally got a standing ovation, round of applause, because it was so over the top theatrical. And it's like 100 men on the stage. And it's like big Ken faces, but big Barbie faces. And him being spun around like he's Madonna in Material Girl video. And like, it was epic, hilarious. So anyway, that's the song. I'm Just Ken. He performed that. The Fire Inside. That's another song from Flaming Hot. What Was I Made For? By Billie Eilish for Barbie. It Never Went Away, American Symphony, I don't know what that is. And Killers of the Flower Moon had a song called, a song for my people called Wazazi, I think.
Billie
Eilish, yeah. She sung it during the award, and literally, I almost teared up. Like, it's something about that song and how, like, soft and like melancholy and like it's just so like sad.
So so that's the thing. I think I've told you this before. Like I like Billie Eilish. So there's some artists that I like, and I can read their lyrics and I'm like, that is deep. But when I hear it, I'm like, this is a garbage song.
Really?
Yes.
And that's how you feel about What Was I Made For?
No, how I feel about Billie Eilish's songs in general. Okay. I feel like how she sings it for her, like how she does it herself, it doesn't resonate with me. So therefore, I'm like, And then also Kendrick Lamar, Eminem. It's a bunch of them.
Okay, interesting. And see, I don't even differentiate any of that. It's like if it has the right tone and feel.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I don't even know what these words are to that song. Like, I had to read them on the screen while she was singing because I had the closed caption on. That's all I could hear. And I've heard it on TikTok 5,000 times. So therefore, I was just like, oh, but then I was reading the words and I was like, oh, that's just like,
So pretty, right?
You were even looking at people in the audience and they were just mesmerized because she's singing it soft.
Yeah, that's how she sings all her songs.
Yeah, but it's like, it's soft, but it's full. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like... I
No, I
describe
get
it.
what you're saying.
It's
I get
like
what you're
it
saying.
has range. It's like coming from your core as
your diaphragm.
The diaphragm, as all music instructors, teach you to do. And then, but it's like it just comes out softer than most people can probably have it come out. And then, of course, Phineas won with that as well. And so that was pretty good. And Best Picture. So the Best Picture category had The Zone of Interest, Poor Things, Past Lives, Maestro, Killers of the Flower Moon, The Holdovers, Barbie, Anatomy of the Fall, American Fiction, and Oppenheimer. And the winner was Oppenheimer. So, yeah. So Oppenheimer, I think, was probably between Oppenheimer and Poor Things, really swept everything. Barbie, I don't even see an award, I think, the Barbie got, or maybe something, but not even like costume design or anything like that. There was one award.
And this was for last year's movies, right?
Yeah. Why? What are you talking about?
There's nothing that came out this year? Because, see, that was my issue.
Sometimes it depends.
That's what I don't like.
It depends on the time frame in which they say the category can happen. And because of the writer's strike, it makes it a really weird scenario.
But I feel like it's always been like that, because I remember there was one year that it was, the La La Land Moonlight year. And they were talking about, well, La La Land is going to win because I think La La Land had came out after Moonlight, and it was like right before the awards. So then it was like fresh in everybody's mind. Everybody was like, oh yeah, boom, that's what it is. And then it ended up sweeping away all the awards. But it's like, but then you just like, I feel like if you're going to be doing it, it should just be, okay, for this year, bam, that's it.
Well, I think
calendar year.
I don't think they do it like that. I think they have a cutoff window. And based on that, as long as your movie comes out before that window, because I feel like one time I remember them talking about how a movie came out just for like 3 days before the window ended, and then they shut it down in the theaters, and then they finished it. Like, not finished it,
but the editor's version or whatever.
Yeah, it's something
and
different.
Then
they like showed it for real much later, as like a re-release or something like that. But it was only so that it could be eligible for the awards because of that same thing. They were afraid that if they only put it out the next year, then everybody would have forgotten about it by the time the awards happened. But, anyway. And so, but yeah, it was funny because one of them was cartoon award for animated whatever for kids or something was one of the categories. And then Jimmy Kimmel came out there and said, oh, so how many of you let your kids vote for this category as opposed to yourself? Like just gave them the card to do it. And then he said, oh, nobody's raising their hand? Good, because it's illegal to do that. So it's like you can't, it's like if you're unhappy about who got what, it's because y'all voted. Like the Academy of people who probably are in SAG or whatever are the ones who vote. All right, another quick thing to talk about. John Cena naked. Don't know if you heard about that. Naked on the stage, like looked completely naked. Okay, so let me go back. What happened was, back maybe 40 years ago, this guy was presenting, and while he was presenting, a streaker ran out across the Oscar stage. And because of that, they did this bit with Jimmy Kimmel and John Cena where John Cena standing behind because he like said a certain thing. Like he said, and can you believe a streaker hasn't happened since? And then he's waiting. He's like, and can you believe a streaker hasn't happened since? And then you hear, psst, psst, like, come here. So John Cena asks Jimmy Kimmel to come back, and he's like, man, I don't feel comfortable about this, whatever. And he was like, man, just go ahead and do it. And he was like, no, I really don't want to, I'm going to get canceled, the whole 9 yards. So then what ends up happening is that they put the winner goes to envelope in front of his junk, and they basically have him sidestep, walk across the stage completely naked with that in front of him. Now, mind you, he wasn't really naked. They showed later on that
he had a sock
like
on
this
or whatever
suit or something. So because CBS specifically said you can do the skit, there will be no accidents.
Yeah, because CBS got in trouble with the Janet Jackson.
They are just like, it's no accidents. There can't even be a butt crack. Period.
What?
No. And so what they ended up having to do was to make a flesh tone, like underwear kind of thing for him that was like a skin tight flesh tone. And then in the front, they actually had it where the envelope that they were acting like they had just handed to him was actually Velcroed or stuck and sewn onto the actual thing. So he was pretending like he was holding on to it, but he really wasn't. So yeah, so that happened. They had a part that had some tribal drums going on for the representation of Killers of the Flower Moon movie, and that was really powerful because they were singing, like a traditional song, and you had the drums going, and it was just a beautiful experience there. And then I think that's about everything, because I already talked about I'm just Ken. Will I ever win? No, I don't know what these words are, but anyway,
I don't know the words.
It's just so ridiculous that I was like, how is this even
I get it.
For an Academy Award?
Because like Ken is, the Barbie movie was like satire.
Yeah, and it was one of the biggest movies. Like, oh, that was cute too. So they had him also presenting with the wife from Oppenheimer. Oh, what is her name? The one who's married to John Krasinski. I can't think of her name right now.
I have no idea who that is. Who's John Krasinski?
The one who was in he was Jack Ryan or whatever his name is, and he's the guy from
from The Office?
Yeah.
I don't know who he's married to.
Emily
I don't know
Blunt.
nothing about that man's
I couldn't
life.
think of her name. Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt. Oh, he's married to Emily
Yeah.
Blunt? Did I know that? I might have known that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway, Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling were up there, and they were like, "Hello, Ryan. Hello, Emily," because it's like Barbie versus, It's interesting that they called it Barbenheimer instead of Oppenarby or whatever, because they knew what was going to be the best. And then it was like this whole like skit about like, well, you all da-da-da. Well, you all da-da-da. Like just going back and forth about it. It was kind of cute and corny at the same time. But yeah. So anyway, that was the Academy Awards in a nutshell. Watch it? Probably not. But I will say, if you watch it, you can watch the highlights. You got to watch the In Memoriam. Watch when they're announcing the biggest awards, like when all the women come out there to say something about the supporting and the main, as well as the supporting actors and the main actors. And if you watch that part, I'm just kidding. Billie Eilish singing, if you like her, you wouldn't. And I would say the tribal tribute. And
RDJ, his speech.
You can watch RDJ speech.
I'm just looking at this clip here that's just showing me a whole bunch of random stuff.
Okay. Yeah,
they did Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger twins?
Yep, they did. That was hilarious. And they were picking on people in the audience. It was funny. They actually picked on Michael Keaton because they were like...
they showed Michael Keaton.
Exactly, because they were like, of course, Danny DeVito was like, I went against Batman for this. And then it's like, I went against Batman and I was, Mr. Freeze versus the Penguin. And they were like, and he has the nerve to be here in this audience right now, Bruce Wayne. Yep. So, and his character... when he wasn't in the Batman outfit, you weren't supposed to know it was Batman.
Yeah.
You know what
Bruce
I mean?
Wayne. Yeah,
he's Bruce Wayne. So he's just Bruce Wayne at a fancy award show, but now you're trying to call him out. So anyway, and I think even Arnold said something like, I don't know, that was slightly a curse word about, the fact like, I can't believe he showed his, yada, yada, Oh, he called him an SOB. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, it was entertaining fast forward version. Okay. So but that's what I had. So what do you have?
All right. I'm gonna do just a little quick one. Okay. The Color Purple.
Yes.
We'll talk about it.
How's the Color Purple quick?
Because it was good. But it was a musical, and you know how I am about musicals.
I do know how you are about musicals.
I don't do them.
Yeah.
I don't do them. So, just to go over the cast, if nobody knows, Fantasia is Celie. Mm-hmm. You got Taraji P. Henson as Suge Avery. Mm-hmm. Daniel Brooks as Miss Sophia. Mm-hmm. Coleman Domingo as Mr. And Corey Hawkins as Harpo.
Okay.
There is some ladies who do play young Nettie, young... Celie, yeah. So, grown Nettie is Sierra.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I did know she was in the movie. Yeah.
And then you have Halle Bailey.
Bailey, right.
Halle Bailey as young Nettie, and then you have Felicia Pearl and Posse as young Celie. And it's so crazy because Felicia Fantasia look a lot alike.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so that was a great whoever matched that up. And then she's a great singer and performer and stuff like that.
I mean, I could see Haley and Sierra too. I mean, a little something.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
And then you had her as Squeaks.
Okay. All right.
Mary Agnes.
Yeah, exactly.
My name's Mary Agnes.
I know Squeaks.
I know Squeaks. Yeah. All right. So, it is a musical. Like I said, I don't like musicals, but the musical does tell you the story of what's happening. So you kind of got to listen to it, or else you could do like I did and listen to a little bit of it and then fast forward until you see people talking again and then just play from there. Yeah. I just don't like musicals. That's just on me. If you do like musicals, this might be up your alley. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the storyline is different. It is not the same storyline that we knew from the original.
Right.
This is more about like from the play standpoint. So there are more intimate things going on with Celie and Suge Avery and excuse me. And then also Squeaks is actually a big part of it. Like her, Miss Celie and everybody get really super close. And then Danielle Brooks playing Miss Sophia was amazing. If it wasn't her, then Divine
she could have done
it. It was only gonna be them two. Only them two. And only them two could pull it off.
Okay.
Who else do you think could pull it off?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, there's nobody else.
Like a powerful,
Then you gotta be a powerful, strong.
Because what was that movie that Danielle Brooks was in? That the girl was like a single white female kind of story with her and another girl, and the one that was on Glee.
Never watched that.
I can't think of the name of it, but there's another girl because some people were getting them confused sometimes about like.
I saw the two girls, the girl from Glee and there's another girl that everybody says they're the same.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, but I don't know her acting skills to be able.
But
to
no,
pull
it's
that
like
off.
if for you, I don't think it would be her. She would be that good. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I don't think she would be that good because she can't have that anger and that.
She is a happy looking.
Yeah.
Look like that's a negative. She's just so happy looking.
Yeah. She looks. Yeah, she's a positive person. But Miss Sophia is like she's about that life. She's like, oh, you told Harpo to beat me.
Exactly.
I love Harpo, God knows I do. But I kill him dead before I let him beat me. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Mikey P. Oh my goodness. So, so I think Danielle Brooks did a great job. Like I said, if it wasn't for Danielle Brooks being in that part, it had to have been Divine, to make it work. There's no other actresses that are around that age or anything, that would be able to pull that off.
So I haven't seen it yet. So who do you feel like really stole the show? Like all the actors and actresses in it. Who do you think was like, oh, this person really did an excellent job?
I would say, well,
I don't know. I'm just asking.
I would say Danielle Brooks.
You really? Yeah. Which is probably why she was up for the award. Yeah. She was the only one. I mean, the only one.
She
from
does.
The whole cast.
She definitely did Oprah justice by playing that part, and she had the jokiness and the sarcasm, and then all of a sudden was
so
mean.
Far from Orange is the New Black.
I know, right?
Oh, our girl is grown up.
Oh, she's all grown up. But so that is, I would say that she would be my top, and then it would probably have been her, and then Fantasia.
Okay.
Taraji, actually, I thought Taraji did good, but I feel like, I don't know, for some reason I don't feel like it was a good fit for Taraji to play that part.
Yeah,
I don't want to say it in like a bad way. I'm not trying to say it in a bad way. I'm just saying like
it could have been Sierra,
but she's a great. No,
I mean Sierra's a singer. She maybe had a little bit of Avery look.
Yeah, but I mean she would have been promiscuous, like acting like Suge Avery. But also I think she was pregnant, so I don't think she could have pulled all that off. But I mean, as far as somebody like you would have to have somebody who always plays like that seductive type role in order to put them in there, and I don't feel like.
That's her.
Yeah. I don't feel like that. That is her niche, or whatever you say it. Exactly. But she did good. Coleman Domingo, he did really good. Yeah. Playing Mister.
He does a really good job of acting. He can make you love him and he can make you hate him. That's what I like about him.
I've never hated him.
No, when he's on The Walking Dead. You can feel some kind of way about. I got you. What's his name? Stratton. Yeah, you can feel some kind of way.
Also, did not know that Corey Hawkins.
Oh yeah,
sang and danced.
Well, I guess Straight Outta Compton wasn't really singing, it was rapping, but
like no, he was doing like tap dance type moves and everything and singing. Yeah, okay. While he was building the house.
He's a theater kid. I could see that. I guess.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So I was not expecting that. The storyline with young Nettie and young Celie was basically the same. Okay. As like the original. A couple of differences, but it's not really that different. But
how long was this one?
Oh, let me see. I just had that pulled up.
I was just wondering. I thought it was close to 2.5 or 2 hours and
2 hours and 21 minutes.
Oh, 20. Okay, I was close. 2.5. Okay.
But yes, Fantasia did do a very, very good job at playing Celie. She did Whoopi Goldberg justice.
Yay.
With that. And I do how they changed up some things when it comes to Mr. and Celie and Suge and everybody's whole thing is it being deep. I will tell you this, the one part that like really hit me that is such a big deal in the other movie was when Miss Sophia was talking to the lady. And the lady was like, "You should come clean for me." And she was like, "No, thank you."
Yeah.
But that scene that they do
in this,
heartbreaking.
Oh, really? Oh,
heartbreaking, just because it's like you could see that the man that she was with was powerless. And she's like, "Get my children out of here," and then her kids are watching as he's pulling off, and he's like watching his girlfriend get beat up.
Yeah.
Oh man, but no, it's very good. There are some songs in there that I was like, I don't even know why this is in here, but maybe I just fast forwarded too early in the song, and I just missed the meaning of it. But yes, I do like it. It doesn't go into how the original Color Purple has a lot of stuff about Africa in it.
Okay.
With Celie, with Nettie, it doesn't do that with this one. This one is she's reading the letters about it, but you're not getting flashbacks and everything like that.
And it would be hard because it's based on the play, which would mean they would have to set design everything for the Africa parts. And so, that makes sense.
But but no, I did like it. Now, understand me. I did like it. I just don't like musicals. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That is it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. But I do think that it was cute. I like how the difference between the original and this one when it comes to Suge and Celie is that they just become best friends immediately. Immediately best friends. And it's all because of like food or something like that. I think it was like food. And then it was like, "What you doing standing out there? Come in here. Wipe my back. Blah, blah, blah." And then next thing you know, they're in love. I don't know. That was weird. But I didn't understand exactly what was happening. I don't even know if what's her name, Alice Walker. Yeah. I don't know if she knew exactly what she was writing, but
that's not what she wrote. This is based on the play.
It's based on the play, but they're still in the original movie. Suge Avery and Celie still kiss each other.
I thought you meant that it didn't make sense that it was so fast in this movie.
Oh no! I mean, just like I'm just saying that the two of them together
didn't
it
make
just
sense.
It was like I guess because she is a lesbian woman, she wanted to put a little razzle dazzle of lesbian in there.
I have no idea.
That's what I know. That's what I'm thinking.
Possible.
I don't know. Yeah, it's possible. But yeah, that's what I had. It's The Color Purple. You can watch it on Max or you can rent it from Amazon Prime. Okay. I'm pretty sure they might have it in like a red box too, but I don't know if people still have DVD
Maybe.
players.
I don't know. But yeah, it's on Amazon Prime, which everybody pretty much has now.
Yep. So that's what I had.
All right. Well, I have something that I don't know if you know about.
Oh.
Because it's about your girl. Your lady. Calm down.
Sorry. Don't be talking about my women's.
After the Fall, a conversation with Robin Roberts and Jennifer Lewis.
Oh my God. Why did you read my mind? Because I was about to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about the other one today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, After the Fall. Yeah, I already watched it.
You watched it?
Oh, I watched it, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jennifer Lewis.
Yes. So,
Into the ravine.
Can I just say what?
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
It's my story. Yes, you watched it, but I'm explaining it.
You're right. I'll let go. My bad. I apologize.
You see what I'm dealing with here? Okay.
I haven't done that in a long time.
Okay. It's her private journey that she went through that nobody knew about. Mm-hmm. So in 2022, Blackish was ending. She was playing a grandmother on there, and she was planning to retire. So she basically is known as the mother of Black Hollywood because of the fact that she has played a maternal figure in so many Black movies, TV shows, the whole nine yards. Like she was on everything, basically, including like The Fresh Prince as somebody's mom, like everything. So anyway, she is also known for her colorful language. And her high kicks, because she is always ready to do a high kick,
absolutely.
and it's just like,
but she was a theater person.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, is this a rocket? What is going on? Like her leg is going over her, head at 70 some years old. So anyway, she's an accomplished actress and author. So she took a trip to Africa after Blackish. And because of the fact that she had asked a friend of hers to be the editor of her book that she had written, and they were co-creators of it, she said, look, I'll pay you for that. And the lady was like, no, don't pay me. And she said, well, then in that case, you're going with me to Africa. I'm paying for this trip for you to come with me to Africa because you wouldn't let me pay you for being my co-creator for my book. So anyway, they went to various areas. They went to Cape Town. They went to Rwanda. They hung out with gorillas. Like all of this you see footage of as you're watching this particular special. It's not a full, it's probably a 30-minute special. And, she's out with the natives. She just looks like she is having so much fun, just like a regular person, not the Jennifer Lewis that you see that's so like over the top and all of that kind of stuff. They went on a safari. They're doing a bunch of adventures. They saw the rhinoceros and the water buffalo and lions and all those kind of things, right? So this is when you would think, if it's called After the Fall, I'm looking at it thinking something is happening while she's out on safari. Something is happening, where she gets too close to a ledge, what in the world has happened, right? And so, no, that's not the case. So she said basically that she was at the resort in her room, and she's going to walk out on the deck, and she said she probably should have had a tour of the property just to have a good understanding of how everything was and where everything was laid out. And so anyway, she didn't realize there was a gap between where the patio was and this like ledge. So she's just walking. It's pitch black dark. I mean, you're not going to have street lights out in the African safari. And she fell. She fell 10 feet, I think it was. Did they say like 10 feet? And basically she said that when she landed, she was there was like a boulder 6 inches from her head. She doesn't know how she fell and didn't actually hit her head on a boulder. And she was just sprawled out on the ground. She said that it was like, stones, rocks, a ravine, everything, which goes into Dee saying, say it again now. The ravine part.
I don't remember what I said.
I don't know.
I know I said ravine, but I can't remember how I said it.
Okay, all right.
Something about ravine.
Mr. Q. Okay.
No, sorry.
No problem.
It was in the moment, right then and there. It popped in my head. Now it's gone forever.
It is. This is true.
Sorry.
All right. So anyway, I'm not going to explain like all of the details and everything because I feel like it is a good thing to watch for that. And plus she's so animated. She's like, and the lions with their paws as they were walking across the Serengeti, like she's Jennifer Lewis, so she's great. So, but anyway, so she said that people who worked at the resort kind of came out to help her, but she said it was also like crazy that there was like a water buffalo like walking around like 10 feet from her while she's laying out sprawled on the ground. She's hurting. Yeah. She can barely breathe. She's trying to get her voice out loud enough before even the people came to help her to yell for her friend because they happened to be in side-by-side rooms. And her friend finally heard her, but she said she knew her friend was asleep. And they came out and basically, she was yelling, are y'all down there? Are y'all helping her? She's trying to like document and record, I guess, what's going on because probably they know we're going to sue because how do you end up falling down there? So let me document this. So you actually see her laid out and all of that. And I mean, it just
looks... It was dark, right?
Yeah, it was pitch black. Because, I kind of said that. But yeah, it was pitch black because of the fact that you're out in the wilderness. And I mean, other than moonlight.
No, I'm just saying it wasn't daytime. It was nighttime.
No, it was night, which was why she didn't know that that's what was happening when she went to go walk out on her patio and her deck. And so she basically makes jokes, which I was like, that's not good. She was like, she could hear a lion roar. It was like, not very far off. So she was making a joke of saying, the king ate the queen. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be the storyline because she said, because I'm a Hollywood person, I think like Hollywood. And what would the line be that I died in Africa? The king ate the queen, you know? Or, Jennifer's body is being flown back to the United States one part at a time. You know, just something like piece at a time, you know. And it's like, oh my gosh. So anyway, but so she can joke about it now, but it literally has taken her forever. Like, so many things were broken, so many things were shattered. Like, she basically had to learn how to maneuver her body and walk again. And although she has had 2 years now to get herself to a point of being able to interact and engage and walk and, you know, be back in business, so to speak, because it sounds like she thought she was going to retire, but now she's not. But she's just saying that it was so wonderful for the people who were there. So where she was, they didn't have the medical capabilities to take care of her. So they flew her to Nairobi, I think was what she said. Okay. And then when she went to Nairobi, they actually ended up, like she said, they just were amazing. Like, fixed her, did titanium and all of that kind of stuff. Because I think people think, especially in America, that American doctors are the best doctors in the world and there are no other doctors that can take care of you like American doctors. I don't know why. But she was like, everybody was amazing. They were great. She said even the ladies who worked there, like, they would come, they were taking care of, you know, like helping her with her hair. They were just doing so many things with her. So, but yeah, it just was a really powerful story of her kind of literal fall. And then her trying to build herself back up since that, and keeping it completely quiet. Yeah, where nobody really knew that that's what she was experiencing or going through. And so I didn't even go over, just so that you know, more about what the actual injury was and all of the parts that were hurt or broken. The Doctors Without Borders part she talks about, the Great Migration that was happening at the time with the animals, helicopters not being able to land. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you remember that, but she said because of the Great Migration, the helicopters couldn't land because of the fact that it would disturb the migration and it was illegal. Yeah, you can't so where she needed to go to was a whole different part of the continent. And they were like, the animals are first because, you know. because this is theirs. This is theirs. We just kind of live here. Yeah. So that whole piece. And, you know, it's patience, it's pain, it's triumph, it's Jennifer Lewis. Yes. So that's what I had for my next one. It's After the Fall, a conversation with Robin Roberts and Jennifer Lewis. And it is on... Oh, what did I watch it on?
Good Morning America.
It was on Good Morning America, but it was on a separate show, like a Prime show or something like that. But I think it's just on Hulu. I think I saw it on Hulu because Hulu's associated with ABC. Okay. All right. What do you have next?
All right. Well, I have the Robin Roberts interview that she has with Regina King.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So with this interview... Regina King is now just first time coming out and doing interviews and everything since her son has passed. Yeah. She does talk about that, and then she also talks about the new movie that she has coming out, which she's going to be Shirley Chisholm.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do remember
so it's going to be in movie theaters, and then by the March 28th it's going to be on Netflix. So definitely look out for that. But she just talks about how it was like different parts of her life. She was like, they've been trying to work on it for 15 years. They've been trying to make this movie.
And she kind of can look like her too. So I think that's a good
But
thing.
What she ended up doing was she was saying that she thought she was like not mature enough to play her when she was younger.
So she had to wait until she got older to be able to play her more effectively.
And so that's what she was talking about. Also, she was talking about with her son. She does talk about how people see depression differently than what they expect it to be. So they were thinking that because he was out and like talking to people and smiling and laughing, he's not depressed, he's fine.
But she knew he was battling depression.
Yes, she knew that he was battling depression. Okay. You know, she said he was like been, looked at and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I think that it was just, she said that he chose that he didn't want to be here anymore. And she said, and that would be selfish for us to think that they should stay here. She was like, it was his choice, and then that's what.
So
what
that's how
ended up
she
happening.
has had to process it to accept it.
And Robin Roberts actually was just like, you know what? I think a lot of people will appreciate you saying it that way. Because every time it's always negativity when you talk about suicide, but that's like, but people really mentally cannot take it here and they want to go. I feel like, go ahead and go, bro. Like, we'll miss you, but go ahead and go.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is one thing that I did want to talk about, was just that. So you can check that out. It was a Good Morning America interview that was on that.
Okay.
But another thing is, there is a TikTok star, Leah Smith.
Okay.
She's I think I don't know if she's British or she's from the UK. She's from Europe. I don't know exactly where from. Because I couldn't tell by her accent, but she was I think 22 years old, and she was like an influencer. And she actually talked about her journey with cancer. She had bone cancer. So I'm going to read you really quick what she has put out for what originally happened to her and how this all came about. So excuse me. So basically, it says it started in early 2019. I had a back pain and leg pain, which after months got worse. I had tests, scans, and list goes on, but nothing was found. At this point, the doctors didn't care anymore. Right? So what she says, she said the pain got so bad, I finally noticed that I had finally got noticed, and then had to have an emergency MRI scan, and they found a tumor, but was unsure if it was cancerous. Right? So then she talks about it some more. So then there is a picture of the tumor.
Yeah.
And she says the tumor was the size of a watermelon on my left pelvic bone. You can see the picture.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So that's what she was dealing with and feeling and everything.
And
nobody could figure out.
The doctor was like, yeah, we can't tell what it is. They
didn't do an MRI from the beginning?
No,
I mean, for those of you who, of course, can't see the picture, but it looks like a lump on the side of her body. Like,
it looks like a football, like she stuffed a football in her skin. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it does. Or half a football.
It's pushed into
like half a football, right.
So she had a biopsy, and it was in fact cancerous, and started chemotherapy. 14 bouts.
Oh my goodness.
Proton beam therapy.
It makes you wonder what would have happened, because how long was she going through it? A year? Like, how much did it grow?
It was started in 2019.
Oh, yeah. So from 2019 until then, like, could it have been something that they could have found earlier? And
she said some days were harder than others, and sometimes she didn't want to be strong, but she never gave up. So after a few months of treatment, and she got to ring her bell. So, and then she went back to school. She watched her hair grow back. She became herself. And, she was feeling great. Then, went out one night, and the next day the hangover was worse than ever, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. My boyfriend rushed me to the hospital, only to find out the worst. And she ended up having the cancer came back.
Wow.
So she was clear for 1.5 years before the cancer came back.
Such a short
period
of time.
So she actually just passed away. When did she pass away? It was just like literally recently. She was 22 years old and died 2 days ago.
Oh my goodness.
She passed away. So just giving out thoughts and prayers, love to her family that are going through this. That's got to be tough, especially for them to be like, oh, you're good, you're healed. Yeah. Then it's like, guess we didn't get it all. So
or if they got it all, she was just in remission, and cancer comes back.
True.
So you just never know with that. And it's so random too, especially when people so young, because I had a coworker one time, and her daughter was like 3 and had cancer. And you're like, how in the world is this possible? Like, how can something happen to somebody so innocent, And then she had to be out of work, but then she's trying to still do work because she was out of work so long with her daughter while she was going through everything that, it's like, well, the job can still only hold you for so long because of the fact that work still needs to get done, but we care about what's going on with you. Exactly. And then do we hire a contractor to replace you until you can, and then, exactly. So it's a lot. So I do feel for everybody, involved, her boyfriend, her family, like, yeah, that's tough. And, it's interesting you bring that up because somebody that I was following on social media named Selma, and she never really even gave like her last name, but Salma, she was a young lady, and I may have talked to you about her before. I can't remember.
I've heard the name,
but yeah, she is somebody who she's Egyptian, or she was in Egypt, and she actually was swimming, and she accidentally sat on one of the air filtration things. Mm-hmm. As a little kid, she was like 4, mm-hmm. and like the suction things that pull out everything, and it literally pulled her intestines out.
Yeah, I do remember.
And so then they thought that she was going to die and all of that back then, but she lived to be about 21, 22 years old, and she just passed away a few months ago, and that was hard for me because I've been following her journey for like probably since 2018, 2017, something like that, of just what she's talked about, what was going on. I watched her like grow up as a teenager and go to her prom and, all of those kind of things. And you feel like a person. And then somebody from her family is just like, she's in hospice. She would come on live on Facebook occasionally, and you could just see from the steroids and stuff she was taking, she was just looking puffy and all of that. And it was just so sad. But, you also think in that, it's kind of situation to help you process it. And you just say, at least they're at peace. They're not in that pain anymore, because she was just in such physical pain. Like she had bags on the outside of her body, and she could never eat food. Oh. Only thing she could do was like, have that tea something, T-PAP, something. So it always fed into her body. It was just nutritional supplements that had to go into her body, that she was like, and these are thousands and thousands of dollars. So she was making her own makeup line so she could sell that so that her family could afford it. But then it's
like, what happens to your teeth and everything when you don't chew anymore,
She was fine in that regard, but it was just interesting because I think it's more about the saliva that keeps everything going in your mouth more than probably the function of chewing. But you're right. I don't know how that part works. So but it's a lot going on. So, but no, thank you for that.
Yeah, so that's what I had. I was just a couple little things.
Yeah,
little hot topics.
Hot topics. Yep. All right. Well, for the last couple of minutes, and this will be really quick, I'm just going to talk about Deal or No Deal Island. Have you heard of that?
No. But can we get some original stuff? People, please. I need some originality.
Are you crazy?
Why are we remaking movies that we made 20 years ago?
Okay, because that's what we do. Just like how, singers always use somebody else's hook in music from before.
But see, that's a sample. That's not redoing.
Sometimes it's redoing songs too. People do remakes.
Yeah, they did remake Georgie Porgy, and I did not know that Toto did Georgie Porgy, and I thought that the original was Eric Benet and Faith Evans. Did? I was a child.
That is too funny.
I didn't know Toto back then. I don't even know if I knew the song Africa back then.
The rain's down in Africa.
Yeah, I don't even think I knew Africa back then.
We're talking a lot about Africa here. Okay. Know, right? Anywho, maybe that needs to be the name, because 3 things we've just mentioned that talked about Africa between Jennifer Lewis. We're talking about it now, and then you said how they didn't show Africa as much. So maybe it's going to be something with Africa.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it is Deal or No Deal Island. So it's Joe Magliano. I never can say his name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Sofia Vergara's ex-husband. Okay. Then it is a bunch of people. So you have like I don't know what you want to call them. It's not really famous people. It's just regular people who are contestants on here. But the only famous person that you might recognize is Claudia Jordan, because she was like one of the Real Housewives and all of that. But she also was a woman who would work with the cases. Remember on Deal or No Deal, you would have the women that would open the case?
Yeah, but what was Claudia Jordan on? What does she look like? I don't know what that is. I know the name, but what was she on?
I mean, she wasn't on anything other than her opening up the case. She probably modeled. She did,
I don't know
different stuff like that. But she was
okay. I thought you were saying she was on like a Real Housewives or something.
No, kind of thing. She might have been in a Friday movie or something like that. Was she the one that was with the? No, was she the one that when Bernie Mac came home and the guy was in the house with his wife, the little person? I can't remember if that was Claudia Jordan's character.
Friday?
And did I say? What did I say? Did I say
Friday?
Friday?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I thought I said Friday. Okay, yeah, I could be wrong. Anyway, but look, I'm just like I don't know. I didn't really do my thorough research on Claudia because I wanted to talk about.
I'm about to say my bad.
No, it's fine. It's about maybe that needs to be it. Sorry.
Yeah, my bad. Africa, my bad.
It's too funny. But anyway, so the whole premise of the show is that you put these people on an island, right? Mm-hmm. And so what happens is they're on the island. You see the helicopters and, well, actually these trucks kind of bring them in, but then helicopters come and they just go into the wilderness and they just start dropping money into like a pit of like quicksand, basically. Mm-hmm. And then they are responsible in this first episode of going through said pit of quicksand and actually trying to either choose if they're going to go for who is going to get the biggest amount of money. Okay. That's basically what they're trying to do. So you just get a case. You don't know how much money that case has because you're going through all this quicksand. You might look at the case and it says $10. Well, I'm going to leave that case and keep going until I find another case that might have $500,000. And then I might be satisfied and then I go and whatever. And whoever had the biggest case would be able to, or you could pick a steal case, like you could steal. And if you steal, then you could steal the biggest winnings. So it's weird stuff like that that's going on with it. It does a lot of like, because they were thinking it was like Survivor. So when they got there, they were like, wait, you mean we can actually like eat really good food? Like
yeah.
we actually
ain't gonna be eating bugs?
Yeah, we don't have to eat bugs. We don't have to do anything like that. And so towards the end of the episode, they figure out one of the people on the island and it's kind of like one person is either going to win or lose. So everybody else is safe, but you have a person who maybe had the most and the person who had the least. Mm-hmm. And then what ends up happening is that you have to kind of, I guess, act like that person on Deal or No Deal, pick different cases with different numbers, have your case set to the side, and determine whether or not you feel like your case is the one that's going to win or the other case. And then the banker is calling in, and he's trying to make you a deal, and you have to say, no deal. Because that's what everybody seems to say, And so that was pretty interesting and a little intense because of the fact that you have people who are trying to, like, you can decide as the person who's up for it, am I just going to guess or am I going to ask my fellow teammates to guess? Because if I don't pick right and the banker's amount that they offered me is less than what's in my case, then I go home.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But I might be asking my fellow counterparts to help me out with picking cases. Are they trying to help?
But are they trying to help me out? Or are they trying to send me home?
That's the point. Yeah. That's the point. So, yeah. And I guess some people could choose, because I haven't watched all the episodes, but some people could choose not to, utilize anybody else there. But that's how it happens. So if the banker's offer to me is less than what's in my case, then I stay. If it's more than what's in my case and I lose because I chose my case over what the banker was offering me, then the other person who I was up against, who had the lowest amount of numbers or whatever, is the one who has to go home. So it's not really like voting somebody out, but, that's kind of how it flows. And so it can be a little stressful because you're watching the cases open like with the original and you're just like, oh my God. It's getting ready to be where this person is going to, lose out on their money because all the big money, the $1 million is gone, the $500,000 is gone, the $650,000 is gone, the $750 is gone. And then they only have 10, 20, 25, 50. So then it's like, okay, you got to keep deciding if you want to keep playing to try to pick smaller numbers so that way the bigger numbers will. So that's really what it's about. It's a game of chance because you don't know what's in the case. So you're either picking large or small numbers. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So that is Deal or No Deal Island. You can watch it on NBC or Peacock. Yep. All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Sestra-Tainment. Have a great night and day, everybody. Bye.